Howdy mates, good afternoon, how are we all doing? Here's a part 3 video for Wednesday, September 14th, 2022. And I'm actually revisiting a site that I haven't been to in quite a while. This is the Red Bug Slough Preserve, which is based down in South Sarasota. So, you may be wondering, like, why is it called the way it is? Well, for a time, this water that you are seeing, this was indeed at one point a slough that had varying depths of water. But the thing is, once this park became developed, there were some barriers and some canals that were incorporated. And that's why nowadays you'll see water here year-round. But nature is still in harmony with this place. But the purpose of why I wanted to make this video was this particular ecosystem that we're seeing right here, right in front of me. You know, that falls between open water and dry land. This is something known as a littoral zone. And typically, a littoral zone breaks up into 3 parts. Or I should say, like 3 zones. So, here we go. So the zone closest to me, this is what you call the Emergent zone. So, usually in the Emergent zone is where you will see more of the common flora here in the state of Florida. You know, for instance, this particular flower that we see right here, you guys, this is known as Spanish needles, also known as Biden's alba. Now, these are indeed a native plant, so that's the good news. And it's so named based on its white appearance. You know, in the Latin term, the term alba actually means white. And Biden's actually suggests the fact that it means teeth. So when you look towards the end of each individual white petal, you'll see that it kind of looks a little toothed, so to speak. And not only that, but since this is a native plant, it is actually a host plant for the dainty sulfur butterfly as well. So it actually is an essential plant that plays a role. So then, as we get past this little bit of emergence, where you also see, you know, a little bit of spikerush as well, even some cattails if you're lucky enough, you'll then get into the Submergent zone. So if you look carefully enough, you get to see a bunch of water lilies, which are indeed another native species down here in the state of Florida. Now, water floating, basically means you'll see them atop the water, but their roots are established underwater. So probably, most likely, these water lilies are probably a couple feet tall. So you're essentially seeing the tip of the water lily berg. You like what I did there? And then last but not least, you have your submergent zone, which is then closest to open water. Now, you won't really see the vegetation because it is underwater, but a common type of plant that you will see includes, but not limited to, the Coontail and the Bladderwort. And a neat fact about Bladderwort is it's actually a carnivorous plant. So they have like all these individual little what you call pods that are used to feed on mosquito larvae. So Actually, a buddy of mine, Garrett, from the Eco Preservation Project, he made a video a couple of days ago on the bladderwort. So if you ever want to check that out, he provides a visual example of that particular plant. So that being said, you know, these littoral zones are absolutely crucial because they act as a habitat for our wildlife, you know, especially for our reptiles, amphibians, even mammals, as well as our birds. But they also act as a buffer too. So what I mean by that is, you know, say a heavy rain occurs and, you know, we have runoff typically as a result. But the thing is, when there's runoff, a lot of these plants that you see in this littoral zone, they're most likely going to use that water before it even gets to the body of water right here. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is these plants literally act like sponges, their roots specifically. So, it promotes the growth of these plants. And they also provide a great source of reducing nutrient pollution too. Because oftentimes, with our use of pesticides and herbicides, those are rich in nutrients such as nitrates and phosphates. I think I just saw a viceroy fly in front of the camera. So essentially, these plants will use more of those nutrients and thus, in the long term, prevents further nutrient pollution, which will then prevent more harmful algal blooms from occurring. So that's the thing, you guys. With the aspects of the natural world, everything is interconnected with each other. This term is known as ecology because it doesn't just define about the living aspects of nature, but ecology really investigates the relationships of nature, whether it's biotic or abiotic, which is just a fancy way of saying living or non-living. So it's quite neat to just really see a demonstration of the effectiveness of a littoral zone. And we need more of these, because I've seen a lot of water retention ponds down here in Florida, which are man-made. A lot of them lack the littoral zones that I speak of. So that's why, native plants are a must. They require very little maintenance because they're already adapted to living in this type of climate. So, now here you can actually see an illustration of more of those water lilies that I speak of. Oh, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. Nature is truly remarkable. So, alright you guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and Journey on a Journey is outwards. Take care, folks. See ya.